Hey everybody, hope you're doing well today. So what I'd like to do is just quickly well, I don't know how quick it's going to be, but I'd like to review what we're going to do for this protein synthesis paper lab. So you've got a stack of papers that you have received or that you will receive, and there's some nice background info on the front. You can look through that and start to get to the instructions. Now, one of the items you're going to receive is this paper here. This is a template for some DNA. So you just cut out the strips. There are 4 strips here. And then you're going to tape them together according to numbers. There's strip 1, 2, 3, 4. Please tape them in the right order. 1 first, then 2, then 3, 4. From left to right, it'll come out something like this. So there's strip 1, then 2, 3, and then we've got 4. So tape it in that order. Every year, there are a couple of groups of people that when they put this together, their like proteins don't come out right, and it's because they just tape this in the wrong order right at the beginning. It's a chromosomal mutation, okay? So just make sure you tape it left to right, 1 through 4. Now, once you have this taped up, you'll notice on strip 1, there is the TATA box. If you recall, the TATA box is where those transcription factors dock, and that allows RNA polymerase to sort of insert and begin transcription. So transcription begins downstream of the TATA box. So when you get to the instructions and it tells you to start transcription, please start here after the TATA box. Don't start in the TATA box or it'll mess things up for you. So you start after the TATA box. Now, you're going to have several sheets with some nitrogenous bases, okay? Each human life is finite, and how much of that time you wish to spend cutting these out is totally up to you. My suggestion is just stack these things up. If you can get them to line up fairly closely, that should be helpful. And then I would just cut along the margins and then stack those up and trim those as well. This does not have to be super precise, okay? Again, if you want to spend a lot of time cutting these out, you can. But I would try to not spend more than a minute per page cutting this stuff out. So you're going to cut out these bases. These are RNA nucleotides, A's, U's, C's, and G's. And what you're going to do is use your template DNA to create a strand of messenger RNA. So here you see, mine had broken, but you got a strand of messenger RNA that you create based on this DNA template. Now, within the messenger RNA, you'll find ultimately your start codon, which is AUG. So you'll need to go several bases in, but eventually you'll find the AUG start codon. That is where you'll ultimately begin translation. So when it's time for you to do translation, start with AUG, methionine. That's your start codon. Now, to sort of decipher what those codons indicate, you'll get the codon chart. So you just work your way left, top, right, and see what the different amino acids are. If you want to write out the full name of the amino acids, they're on the back of that page. Okay. Now, where do you write this down? In your big old stack of papers, we're going to get some tRNAs. The tRNAs are labeled tRNA. For the amino acids, you could use this chart to write down what the names of the amino acids are. Don't worry about writing down the tRNA anticodon, and I'm not worried about that. So, sort of the general flow of information. You'll start with your template DNA. You'll transcribe that into a strand of messenger RNA, so you'll tape those together. When you go to translate, you begin with the AUG codon. Okay, so start with AUG. And then you're going to take these tRNAs that you've cut out, and you're going to string together or tape together the amino acids. So ultimately, when it's all said and done, what you're going to walk out with is this. This is a chain of amino acids. You have your polypeptide, and that can fold up, and it'll be your protein. Okay. So ultimately, what you're going to wind up with are all these amino acids lined up and taped together. Okay. Start with the DNA template. Start transcribing after the data box. You'll tape together a bunch of RNA nucleotides to make your messenger RNA. When you go to translate, start with the AUG start codon. Then you'll identify the anticodons that match with the messenger RNA codons, and then you'll just write in the name of the amino acids and create a chain of amino acids that fold up and become a polypeptide. All right. So that's the practice with transcription translation. Now, in terms of work product, we'll reference back to this document. When you turn to, I think, page 3, it has this thing with teacher initials. You're doing this stuff at home, so don't sweat that. You'll put it together and you'll be good. What you're going to end up submitting starts on page 4. Okay, so you'll turn in this packet, but we'll start on page 4. Now notice, oh my goodness, there are a lot of boxes there. Again, spend your time how you want. Don't feel like you need to fill out all those boxes. What I would say is, first 9 to 12. If you fill out the first 9 to 12 boxes, then that will help you with transcription translation. So don't feel like you got to spend tons of time on that. 9 boxes, 12 boxes, knock it out real quick, and that's good to go. On the subsequent pages, they're going to have all sorts of mutations that occur. Again, don't feel like you got to fill out all these boxes. Oh, for goodness sake, that'd take forever. So just see where the mutations are and then fill out the boxes around that and then answer the questions. One other thing about the questions, it'll ask you something, then ask you to explain. Make sure you follow that up. Give the explanation, okay? You got to give that justification on the AP exam, so I want you to make sure you're doing that. So again, on all of these subsequent pages, you'll identify like different types of mutations. And when you do that, you only need to mess around with the boxes around the mutation and then answer the questions, making sure you explain everything. Let's see. The only other thing I'd mention, when you get to page 11, the last page, there are some questions about cystic fibrosis. You may need to go to the internet and use Bing or whatever other search engine you may use to find the answers to those questions in the back. But this is the packet you're going to end up submitting. As you work through stuff, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, good luck. Hope you do well with it and enjoy. Have a great day.